and gentlemen, welcome back to another exciting edition of Two Men in Black and White, an honest conversation. I'm here this evening by myself because of an unfortunate passing in my co-host Brock's family. He's going to take all the time he needs, but in the meantime, I'll be filling you in on the latest happenings on the decay of our democracy through the black and white community lenses. All right, my name is Mark Hayes, as I mentioned, and let's get right into it. The place where I live, the place that I believe will ultimately spell the demise for the entire Trump regime. That's everybody, from the orange Cheeto Mussolini himself on down to Pammy Joe Bondi, on down into Congress and everybody else implicated. There has got to be some sort of consequence for trafficking children. Remember, don't look at the victims at their age now. They're women. They're grown. Some of them are in their 40s. Look at them as the children that they were when they were being trafficked. And that's what's the most important part about this. How do we allow this? I've been saying for months now, the black community is just, put off by the fact that rich and powerful white men can just traffic young ladies unabashedly, young girls, unabashedly. But some of these girls were in their late teens as well. But they preyed on those young girls that were from broken families because they knew nobody would look for them. They assumed nobody would care. The Epstein files are just as disgusting as you might imagine. He is one vile human being, and he got what was coming to him. There is karma. Karma came for him early. Karma came too soon because he wasn't able to tell his story and be able to tell us how he got away with it for so many years and tell us about the sweetheart deal that Pammy Joe and Alex Acosta cut for him down in Palm Beach when he was able to sneak away during the day from the jail and sleep at the jailhouse at night. Who was letting him in and out? I know a little something about incarceration, right? Who's got the keys? Who's giving him the keys? He basically had the keys to the joint and was coming and going as he pleased, just ducked down in the car seat. It's just ridiculous. And black people are like, no, we're not here for it, right? There have been no consequences. One person has been imprisoned, and that's a woman. I'll be her as vile as Jeffrey and all the other pigs involved with this mess. But I thought America was different. I just thought there were certain things you couldn't get away with, regardless of the color of your skin or, your perceived power dynamic or the fact that you were rich, right? Remember how much shit OJ got, right? OJ was acquitted and shunned universally by America because he's one of the first African Americans to ever have the resources to fight against the prosecution team, albeit a state prosecution. He would have had a lot more difficulty had it been a federal prosecution. But he was able to get the kind of lawyers that can out-lawyer the state prosecutors, and that's exactly what happened. That's why Darden's life has never been the same. Marsha Clark doesn't even practice law anymore. She's doing TV shows or something or other, writing books, writing novels. That's how devastated they were about not being able to put the black man in jail. Now, karma caught up with him too. But let's take a look at Diddy's situation. Diddy is being universally reviled as well. How come Diddy's getting more shit than Epstein? How come we don't have a 4-part series on Epstein and his disgusting crimes? Man, you've got millions and millions of pages of documents that you could do a documentary with. Where is it? How come Brett Ratner's not directing that cinematic masterpiece instead of wasted his time on a hollow shell of a human being called Melania and doing a film about her? What are you even got to talk about for an hour and a half of Melania? What has she done? I mean, at what point, like, who says they don't give a fuck about Christmas? Melania. Who gives a fuck? Thanks, Melania. That's what Christmas means to you, huh? You're a mother. You actually had a child. And that's that's her take on it. But I guess Donnie didn't give a damn. He probably wasn't sleeping with her anymore anyway. The day the kid was born, he was out, with a porn star, getting his swerve on. So I guess family values don't exactly ring true in the damn Trump household. But, in other parts of the world, there have been consequences. Let's talk about that for a moment, because in the UK, the folks that are being linked to Jeffrey Epstein and his vile, disgusting trafficking of children are paying the price. Although they're not paying with their freedom, there are some repercussions and consequences. Take Prince Andrew. Prince Andrew. He had to move. He lost, the royal castle, got stripped of his title. Now he's living in a much more meager castle. Also cost the Duchess. She's like, what did I have to do with this? Why do I have to go? By the way, we need to get a report on where she's living now, because she got kicked out along with Andrew. So, hey, you know what? When children are being trafficked, who cares if there's collateral damage, right? I'm sure the Duchess is doing just fine with her contacts and her royalty. I'm sure she's doing just fine. But, the Epstein scandal has rocked the British government right down to the core. Peter Mendelssohn's relationship with Epstein, the child molester, the child trafficker, the vile human being that he was, threatens to topple the prime minister, because the prime minister brought Mendelssohn on, even though there were questions about his relationship to Jeffrey Epstein at the time the prime minister was vetting him, supposedly, and considering bringing him in to the administration over there. So, the scandal is far reaching, right? Wall Street, Hollywood, hip hop, professional baseball. I mean, is there anybody who can control themselves when it comes to sexual activity? And what is this infatuation with children? I mean, are you as disgusted about it as I am? Because I know, it physically makes me ill to know that these men were punishing and brutalizing these. I mean, this wasn't just kinky. They were doing some vile shit to these children. And I don't think enough attention is being paid to it. We should have whole Dateline episodes on just the first million documents that came out on Friday. There are still millions more to come. Where's 2020? Where's First 48? Why aren't they investigating? Oh, no one died? Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, they did. We've heard Sasha Riley's accounts of what he witnessed on the island. It's unmistakable, that people could lie. See Howard Lutnick. Howard Lutnick said, oh, and he was so convincing. Oh, at that moment, when we saw the massage table in the middle of the floor at Jeffrey Epstein's house, And he came in my face and he said, "Oh, I get the right kind of massage every day." My wife and I said, "We'll never be in his home again." That was a lie. There's Epstein emails in there from Lutnick's wife to Epstein talking about, "Hey, we wanted to stop through the island. We're on a boat, on a yacht with 5 children, friends of our daughters, 15 years old." People knew what was going on. Everybody knew. Everybody in the loop knew. Everybody that had access knew. All these 1%ers, 0.5%ers, some of the richest people in the world knew what was going on the island. So, Prince Andrew, the brother of King Charles, lest we forget, the brother of King Charles is the best known Brit to be caught up in Epstein's web. But yeah, Mendelsohn, another guy with Prince in his title, though the Prince of Darkness is his nickname, which he, easily earned based on what we saw in the Epstein files. And, he's got the reputation anyway of being, a master of political dark arts, as they say. He keeps reinventing himself over there in Europe. You can read more about it. The Guardian and the tabloids over there in London have covered him ad nauseum. You just type his name in and all kinds of articles come up on him, including the fact that they've launched a criminal investigation into allegations that Mandelson shared sensitive information with Epstein while serving as the government minister for business back in 2009. So it's in the emails. It's in the emails, and his unilateral wet dream is now going to end him up in prison. So, he's 72 years old. So he was in his 60s, 50s back when this happened. And, he's accused of leaking government emails and market sensitive information in the aftermath of the financial crash. How much more of a scumbag can you be? How much more of a scumbag can you be? But at least there's consequences over there. At least people are squirming. Really, we got Bill and Hillary coming to Capitol Hill. First of all, you keep fooling around with Bill and Hillary, they're going to tear you a new one, because Bill and Hillary know what they're doing. You think Bill and Hillary are going to show up unprepared? Bill and Hillary are going to walk on Capitol Hill and let y'all have it. You Republican morons who can't put a sentence together, you think you're going to fool around with a couple of Rhodes Scholars? With a couple of people who wrote the playbook on how to handle scandal? You forget they used to call him Slick Willie. Oh, Bill got caught with his pants down on the campaign trail. See Jennifer Flowers. And still won the election and served 2 terms. Got caught playing games underneath the Resolute desk with Monica Lewinsky. Might I remind you of that scandal, which is baby shit compared to what Trump is doing. I mean, wow. Remember how mortified Republicans were with Bill Clinton for getting blown in the Oval Office? Wow. And think about what some of them are doing now. I mean, from children, right? Child sex trafficking to raping little boys. I mean, we've had scandal after scandal involving allegations of SA against Republican members of Congress. Where does it stop? When does it stop? And who do we go to get it to stop? I guess you folks at the voting booth will have to, figure it out for us. But those of you responsible for triple trumping, right? You voted for Trump in all 3 elections. You're triple trumpers, right? You're the problem. You are the problem. Look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself you are the problem. I did this. What's going on in Minneapolis? I did. Say it to yourself. I did this. I have the blood of Renee Good and Alex Preddy on my hands because I'm an asshole and I triple trumped. You need to say that to yourself over and over again, and then get your ass out there and protest against the brutality that is being conducted by ICE. All right. We do have one little bit of responsibility being taken by Paul Weiss, who resigned from a prominent law firm after the release of the Epstein files, one of the most prestigious law firms in the U.S., after there were exchanges found in the Epstein files with his name on it. It's, a high profile departure, right? Somebody's being booted out on their ass. I'm sure he didn't, resign on his own. Needs the money, It's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. And again, remember, folks, we haven't gotten all the documents. Midas Touch is reporting that there could be anywhere from 3,000 more files containing anywhere from 25 million to 30 million pages of information in those 3,000 files. And we got a few million last week. And remember, they were supposed to be redacting the victim's name, so they're traumatizing them again. And this thing is rife with nude pictures, just all kinds of undigestible stuff. Now, folks, let me tell you this. I worked for damn near 30 years in television news. The worst thing I had ever seen was up in Macomb County. A detective was so disgusted by the child porn that he had seen, and he shared it with us. And I don't know what led him to go get these pictures and bring them back to us, as if we needed more motivation. I mean, myself and my videographer were already grossed out by what he had told us. I physically became ill when I saw the pictures. That's how disgusting it was. I hope you've never seen child porn. But if you have, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And that's why all these people should be put under the prison. So yeah, so the files, this incompetent DOJ, who cares nothing about anything but themselves, enriching themselves, carrying out a demented old man's agenda, is insane. There is a photo of a girl in there, of an underage girl who was hired to give sexualized massages to Epstein. And she appeared in the chart of the alleged victims. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? They're trying to ruin their lives again. You don't think they've been through enough trauma? These people have absolutely no regard for the law. For the law. We saw that in Trump 1.0, though, didn't we? Yes, we did. Yes, we did. And now we're seeing it again. And this time it has already cost us our democracy. All right, hit the like and subscribe button. We're trying to get to 5,000 subscribers, and we need your help. All right, folks, more updates to come. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you soon.